the lesson I decided to choose was The Tempest by William Shakespeare. And because of the Common Core changes in standards, I decided to do something a little bit different on something that's been taught for a very long time. So the first thing I asked the kids to do was to create a journal. In that journal, it was basically used as an icebreaker, and what they were supposed to do was kind of talk about the topics that would be present in the Tempest without talking about the Tempest specifically. Then what I would do is create small groups. Within the small groups, those groups would be the groups for the entire unit. And then we went to this part of the room over here. We did text-dependent questions. I gave them the first 3 text-dependent questions, and it was their job in groups to figure out 2 more questions that they could ask. And of course, each group came up with a different questions that have to do with the Tempest itself. And the reason for this is to create skills that don't have to do necessarily with specifically the text of the Tempest, but things that deal with the Tempest that they could kind of apply in other places. So after this, within their small groups, they were also asked to go and comment. There was comments on the other 2 questions that were created by the students in their small groups, which creates a gallery effect where they would go around and look at other kids' work and then actually talk about other kids' work. So then I decided to use the station model. With the station model, it's 5 different stations that go throughout, however how long the unit takes, and each station is visited by each group on a different day, so that by the end of the unit, each group has seen each station. The first station that we have here is, this is an Edmodo page, which basically is like a social media response page where everybody can see responses put up there. And the kids were asked to write a response to a video and relate it to the Tempest. And what was good about this is that their work is up there and they get to comment on each other's work and they get to see each other's work. That was the first station. The second station was a mood board. The mood board is basically like a bulletin board that you would do interactively, where you would come up with ideas, and they watched the video on cyberbullying, and they put up their ideas within the mood board to kind of give everybody a look into what they thought about that and relate it to the Tempest. The third station was actually, instead of making an essay, which is useful but time-consuming, what we did was we did a paragraph that's loaded with information in a response to the question based on the definition of the Department of State website. How does Prospero's actions align with the definition of modern slavery? And there was another question up there. But instead of going throughout a whole essay, make a nice, concise paragraph that will hit all the points within it. The station 4 was a T-chart. It actually started out as a T-chart, but as you know, you have to kind of adapt to the way that your class is learning. And it turned into this chart where they broke each one of these things up into 4 separate categories, and they would pick out quotes. And as you can see, they even were able to post their comments on other people's quotes. And what I thought was also great about this is the quotes themselves can be interdisciplinary, whereas if it was a book about, let's say, something with history or something, you could bring another class into the same class, so you're doing really 2 things at once and relating them. Anytime you relate it, it's better for them to understand and to remember it. Let's see what else. Then I got the 5th skill, or the 5th skill station. And this was a video that they had to make on, they were showing different artwork, and they had to make their own video and post it up on the small board here, which is great because they were able to show their video that they made to everybody else in the class, and everybody got to see each other's videos. And the video was about how the artwork was either related to the Tempest or not related to the Tempest, and why. And it actually worked out great to see their work and everybody else's work go together. And that's my list.